Mr. Ray was a powerful billionaire who owned many businesses across the city, and people feared his voice because he never spoke twice and never explained himself to anyone, and he lived in a large modern house on a quiet hill where silence felt heavier than noise, and inside that house lived his young son Leo, who was 8 years old and very sensitive, and unlike other children he did not enjoy loud sounds or sudden movements, and he preferred calm moments and simple routines, and Leo found comfort in the kitchen more than any other place in the house because the kitchen felt warm and safe and alive, and that feeling came from the chef named Sam who worked there every day, and Sam was a simple man with kind eyes and a calm voice, and he did his work with patience and care, and never treated Leo like a burden or a problem, and every morning Leo would quietly walk into the kitchen and sit on a stool watching Sam prepare meals, and Sam would explain each step, slowly, and sometimes let Leo help by holding a spoon or choosing herbs, and those moments gave Leo confidence and peace that he never felt anywhere else, and Sam always made sure Leo stayed safe and away from danger, and he never rushed him and never spoke loudly, and Leo trusted him deeply and smiled more around Sam than anyone else in his life, and Mr. Ray rarely noticed these moments because he was always busy with calls, meetings and travel, and when he was home he stayed distant, and believed that providing wealth was enough to be a good father. And one afternoon Mr. Ray returned home earlier than usual, and walked into the kitchen without warning, and at that moment Leo was standing near the counter holding a spoon while Sam guided him carefully, and the stove was on but Leo was at a safe distance, and Sam was fully focused on him, and suddenly a loud sound came from outside as a door slammed shut, and Leo startled and dropped the spoon, and it hit the counter and made a sharp noise, and Leo froze in fear, and his hands began to shake and his breathing changed and his eyes filled with tears, and Sam immediately turned off the stove and knelt down beside Leo and spoke softly, telling him he was safe and that nothing bad had happened, and he gently moved Leo away from the counter and held his hands to calm him, and Leo began to cry quietly as his body trembled, and before Sam could fully calm the child Mr. Ray stepped forward and saw his son crying, and his expression changed to anger, and he did not ask what happened and did not look at the details and did not listen to Sam, and instead he raised his voice and accused Sam of being careless and said a chef had no right to involve his son in kitchen work, and Sam tried to explain that Leo enjoyed helping and that he was always careful and that the boy was safe, but Mr. Ray interrupted him and said he did not want excuses and that his son was crying because of Sam, and in that moment Mr. Ray decided Sam was no longer needed and told him he was fired and ordered him to leave immediately, and Sam stood there silently for a moment, shocked but calm, and he looked at Leo who was still crying and reached out gently but stopped himself because Mr. Ray pulled Leo away and told him to go upstairs, and Sam slowly removed his apron and placed it on the counter and nodded once toward Leo to comfort him without words, and then walked out of the house without arguing or begging, and the kitchen became quiet in a way it had never been before, and that night Leo did not eat his dinner and pushed the plate away, and the next morning he refused to leave his room, and over the next few days Leo stopped speaking almost entirely and avoided eye contact, and no new chef could calm him because he did not trust anyone else, and the kitchen no longer felt safe to him, and Mr. Ray noticed the change but assumed it would pass and believed that toys, gifts and distractions would solve the problem, and he ordered expensive items to be delivered hoping Leo would cheer up, but nothing worked, and Leo became more distant and withdrawn, and spent hours staring out the window and clutching the drawing Sam had once praised, and Mr. Ray began to feel frustrated because he could not understand why his son was not responding, and for the first time money failed to fix something important, and deep inside Mr. Ray felt an uncomfortable sense of doubt, but he pushed it away and told himself he had done the right thing and that Sam was just an employee who crossed a line, and yet every night when Mr. Ray walked past the silent kitchen he felt a strange emptiness that reminded him of something he had lost without realizing its value, and the house that once felt powerful now felt cold and heavy, and Leo's quiet sadness began to fill every corner, and something unseen had started to change in Mr. Ray, even though he did not yet understand it. Days passed after Sam left the house, and the silence inside the walls grew deeper and heavier, and Leo changed in ways that worried even the staff who rarely spoke about feelings, and Leo stopped entering the kitchen completely, and refused to sit at the dining table, and instead he carried his food to his room, or sometimes did not eat at all, and his eyes lost their light, and his drawings became darker and less detailed, and Mr. Ray noticed these changes slowly because his mind was still busy with business matters and meetings and phone calls, but one evening he returned home and found Leo sitting on the floor holding an old drawing of a kitchen scene with two figures smiling, and Mr. Ray asked what it was, and Leo did not answer, and just held the paper tighter, and that silence felt louder than any argument, and Mr. Ray felt a strange discomfort he had never felt before, and later that night he tried to speak to Leo again, and asked if he missed Sam, and Leo finally nodded without looking up, and that small movement shook Mr. Ray more than any loss he had faced in business, and he realized that Sam had not just been a chef but someone important to his son, and the next morning Mr. Ray ordered his assistant to look into Sam's background, not to rehire him but to understand him better, and what the assistant found surprised him because Sam had once been a teacher before losing his job due to circumstances beyond his control, and he had taken cooking work to survive, and had always preferred working quietly and helping children because he believed kindness mattered more than status, and Mr. Ray read the report, and felt a growing weight in his chest, and around the same time Leo's school called, and informed Mr. Ray that Leo had stopped participating in class, and often sat alone during breaks, and that he had cried when another child raised their voice near him, and hearing this made Mr. Ray realize the depth of the damage, and for the first time he questioned his own reaction that day in the kitchen, and that night Mr. Ray walked into the kitchen alone and stood where Sam used to stand, and he noticed small details he had ignored before, like how the tools were organized carefully, and how notes were left with reminders about Leo's preferences and safety, and Mr. Ray picked up one of those notes and read the simple handwriting that said Leo likes calm mornings and warm food, and those words stayed with him, and slowly regret began to replace pride, and Mr. Ray started paying closer attention to his son and noticed how Leo flinched at sudden sounds, and how he avoided eye contact when spoken to harshly, and how he trusted gentle voices more, and Mr. Ray realized he had misunderstood both his son and Sam, and this realization made him restless and unable to focus on work, and he canceled meetings and spent more time at home observing rather than controlling, and one afternoon he tried to cook for Leo himself, but the kitchen felt unfamiliar and uncomfortable, and Leo stood at the doorway watching silently, and when Mr. Ray dropped a spoon and it made a loud noise, Leo stepped back in fear, and Mr. Ray immediately understood what Sam had always protected Leo from, and that moment broke something inside him, and he apologized softly to his son, even though Leo did not respond, and later that evening Mr. Ray asked his assistant to find Sam and arrange a meeting, and the assistant warned him that Sam might refuse, but Mr. Ray insisted because he knew this was not about pride anymore, and while waiting for a response, Mr. Ray reflected on his own childhood where strict rules and cold expectations had shaped him, and he realized he was repeating the same mistakes, and that night he barely slept thinking about how easily he had dismissed Sam without listening, and how quickly he had judged without understanding, and the next day the assistant returned with news that Sam had agreed to meet, but only to talk and not to return immediately, and Mr. Ray felt relief mixed with fear and guilt, and he prepared himself mentally knowing this conversation would not be easy, and when the day came Mr. Ray went to a small quiet cafe instead of a formal office and waited, and when Sam arrived he looked calm but distant and older somehow, and Mr. Ray stood up and greeted him politely, and for the first time spoke without authority, and asked Sam to sit, and as they talked Sam explained how Leo felt overwhelmed by loud environments and how helping in the kitchen gave him a sense of control and safety, and how Sam had always taken steps to protect him, and Mr. Ray listened without interrupting, and for the first time he truly heard what had been ignored, and when Sam finished speaking Mr. Ray apologized sincerely, and admitted his mistake, and said his reaction came from fear not reason, and Sam listened quietly, and said he understood, but trust once broken took time to rebuild, and those words stayed with Mr. Ray as a reminder that fixing the damage would require patience and effort, and as the meeting ended Mr. Ray asked if Sam would consider visiting the house just to see Leo, and Sam did not answer immediately, but said he would think about it, and walked away leaving Mr. Ray alone with his thoughts and hope, and that night Mr. Ray returned home, and found Leo asleep clutching the same old drawing, and Mr. Ray sat beside him, and promised himself silently that he would do whatever it took to make things right not just for business but for his son, and the man he had wronged. The days after the cafe meeting felt longer than usual for Mr. Ray as he waited without pushing and tried to change his ways quietly, and he spent mornings with Leo sitting nearby without forcing conversation, and learned to speak softly and move slowly, and Leo noticed the change even if he did not say anything, and one afternoon Leo surprised Mr. Ray by asking if Sam was angry, and Mr. Ray answered honestly that Sam was hurt, but kind, and that he might come visit if Leo wanted, and Leo nodded gently. and held on to that hope, and when Sam finally agreed to visit the house, Mr. Ray prepared carefully by asking the staff to keep the house quiet, and by turning the kitchen lights warm and calm, and when Sam arrived he stood at the doorway unsure, and Leo appeared from the hallway and froze, and for a moment no one moved, and then Sam knelt down and smiled gently, and said hello, and Leo stepped forward slowly, and stood close, and the silence between them felt full of emotion and safety, and Mr. Ray watched from a distance and did not interrupt, and Sam asked Leo if he wanted to draw, and Leo nodded, and they sat at the table drawing quietly, and the kitchen felt alive again in a soft way, and Mr. Ray felt relief and sadness at the same time, and over the next few visits Sam returned not as a worker, but as a guest, and each time Leo became more open, and started speaking again in short sentences and laughing softly, and Mr. Ray learned by watching that patience created trust and control destroyed it, and he began changing how he treated everyone around him including his staff, and he listened more and spoke less and accepted that strength did not always mean authority, and one evening Sam and Mr. Ray spoke privately, and Sam explained more about Leo's sensitivity, and how small routines helped him feel secure, and Mr. Ray admitted he had ignored these needs and promised to learn, and Sam said learning was more important than apology, and those words guided Mr. Ray forward, and Leo slowly returned to the kitchen and one day asked if he could help cook again, and Mr. Ray hesitated but remembered Sam's lessons and agreed with care and supervision, and Leo smiled for the first time in weeks, and that smile healed something deep inside Mr. Ray, and as time passed the house felt warmer and quieter, and Leo began doing better at school, and his teachers noticed improvement, and Mr. Ray began attending meetings with them and listening instead of defending, and Sam eventually agreed to return part-time not as a servant but as someone trusted and respected, and Mr. Ray treated him as an equal and asked for advice and guidance, and the staff noticed the change and felt safer and more valued, and one night Mr. Ray stood alone in the kitchen after everyone had gone to bed and realized how close he had come to losing something precious because of pride and fear, and he promised himself to never again decide without listening and to always protect what truly mattered, and as he looked around the kitchen he saw the drawing Leo had made that day showing three figures smiling together, and Mr. Ray understood that this story was no longer about power or wealth but about understanding and care and growth, and even though the pain of the past remained it had become a lesson rather than a wound, and the future felt hopeful and calm and filled with small meaningful moments that money could never buy. Mr. Ray continued changing day by day, and he stopped measuring life by deals and numbers and started measuring it by Leo's comfort and by the peace inside their home, and he kept Sam as a part-time chef but also treated him like a trusted guide, and not just staff, and Sam accepted the role carefully because he wanted to protect Leo and also teach Mr. Ray how to be present, and one morning Sam suggested a small routine that could bring stability to Leo, and that routine was called the calm kitchen hour, and during that hour the phone stayed away, the staff moved quietly, and Leo could help with safe tasks like washing vegetables and arranging plates, and Leo liked that routine because it gave him control and safety, and it made him feel useful and important, and Mr. Ray joined that routine too, and at first he felt awkward because he had never learned simple tasks like chopping vegetables or setting a table with care, but Sam showed him step by step and did not judge him, and Leo watched his father learn, and that sight slowly changed Leo's heart because the boy saw effort and humility where he once saw only distance and control, and after a few weeks Leo began talking more freely, and started asking questions about food and flavors, and even asked his father about his work, and Mr. Ray answered in simple words and tried not to sound strict or impatient, and he began taking Leo on short walks outside instead of leaving him alone with screens and gifts, and they watched birds together like Leo used to do alone, and Mr. Ray learned which birds Leo liked and listened to the stories Leo made up about them, and those small moments became stronger than any formal lesson, and the school also noticed that Leo was calmer and more confident, and Mr. Ray attended a small meeting at school where the teacher explained that Leo did best when adults stayed calm and predictable, and Mr. Ray thanked her and promised to keep building that calm at home, and later he spoke with Sam about how he had reacted wrongly in the past, and Sam reminded him that real change was not proved by words but by steady actions, and Mr. Ray took that seriously and began applying it not only with Leo but with everyone around him, and he stopped shouting during meetings and started asking questions and listening first, and his assistant noticed the difference, and even business partners felt it, and one day a manager made a mistake that would have once caused a harsh response, but Mr. Ray corrected it with calm and clear instructions, and people were shocked in a good way because the man they feared was becoming someone they respected. And at home Leo started drawing bright pictures again, and one evening he gave Mr. Ray a drawing of the kitchen with 3 figures and a window full of sunlight, and Mr. Ray held it carefully like it was a treasure, and he asked Leo who the 3rd figure was, and Leo said it was Sam, and Mr. Ray nodded, and said Sam helped them both. And Leo asked if Sam would ever leave again, and Mr. Ray felt a sting in his chest but answered gently that he would never push Sam away like that again, and that he would always listen before making decisions, and Leo seemed relieved, and that night Leo ate a full dinner at the table, and even told a small joke, and the staff smiled quietly, and Sam looked at Mr. Ray, and nodded as if to say this is what healing looks like, and a few days later Mr. Ray arranged a small dinner in the house with only the people who mattered, and no business guests, and no show, and he asked Sam to cook Leo's favorite meal, and when the meal was ready Mr. Ray stood up and spoke to Sam in front of the staff, and thanked him for the patience and care he had shown, and also apologized again for the day he made the wrong choice, and he admitted that his pride had blinded him, and that his son had paid the price, and he promised that this home would be built on respect and calm from that day forward, and Sam accepted the apology and said he only wanted Leo to feel safe, and Mr. Ray turned to Leo and asked if Leo felt safe now, and Leo nodded and said he did, and that one word meant more to Mr. Ray than any award or profit. And after dinner Leo asked to help clean up, and Sam guided him while Mr. Ray joined too, and they worked together slowly and quietly, and the kitchen felt like a place of warmth and not fear. And later that evening when Leo went to sleep Mr. Ray walked Sam to the door and asked what he could do to make sure he never repeated the same mistake, and Sam told him to pause before reacting, and to ask what the child truly needs, and to remember that being a father was not about control but about care, and Mr. Ray repeated those words in his mind like a promise. And when Sam left Mr. Ray returned to the kitchen, and looked at the notes Sam had once written, and realized he no longer needed reminders because he finally understood, and in the following weeks Mr. Ray created a small program in his businesses to support calm and respectful workplaces, and he gave workers fair treatment and encouraged managers to lead with patience, and people began sharing stories of how his change affected them. And even though Mr. Ray never sought praise he felt a quiet satisfaction because he was building something better than wealth, and the story that began with a harsh decision ended with a new kind of strength, and Leo grew lighter and happier, and Sam remained a steady presence, and Mr. Ray learned that rushing to judge could break what money could never repair, and that a true apology was not a speech but a new way of living. And the house on the hill finally felt like a home, and not just a place of power, and the kitchen became the heart of that home again.